season to Bathtub, Ohio. Bathtub season to best friends, no clothing, confusing. Bathtub season, it's Bathtub season, it's Bathtub season, it's Bathtub season, it's Bathtub season.
Well, hello, Austin. I feel like it's been a while.
It has definitely been a while. I have missed this wet, wonderful time.
It's probably been like 2 months since we actually recorded anything, right?
Something like that, to be honest, yes.
Yeah, it's been a wild couple of months. I've been dealing with some mental health things I'll probably talk about online at some point on our feed, and then we've both just been busy.
Yeah, I've also had my own mental health stuff going on. It's always a weird time of year, and
Yeah, same.
like it's always a weird time of year with, you know, depression and going out and anxiety and all those different things that come up with the change of the season and just the different opportunities and options you have. But then for me, every year I deal with that for a few months, and then my schedule just gets so busy, and I'm like, I don't know if I was ready for this, but here we are.
Yeah, this time of year, I don't know, always messes with me, like the end of winter. Like, I'm good most of the winter, unlike most people with seasonal issues, but it's something about January and February just messes with me.
They're bad months. I'm not a fan.
Even though my birthday's in February, and I love my birthday.
Yep, terrible month. Awful.
February made me shiver with every paper I deliver.
Through all of this, I've been having a running notepad of cold open ideas, and I've got some bangers, but a question came to me the other day that's just been bugging the fuck out of me, and I need to know your thoughts on it. It's like, I need to. Austin, what is the funniest restaurant?
What is the funniest restaurant?
Like, not like that they're trying to be funny, but just like at its core is funny.
What even brings a question like this about?
I don't know, but it popped in my head when I was half awake, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. Like, Arby's tries to be funny, and they are sometimes. And then you have, like, Denny's on Tumblr is hilarious. But, like, that's trying to be funny, even if it is funny. But, like, neither of those mean that those restaurants are funny.
What do you mean funny? Funny how?
Well, you got my brain jumping all over the place here. I mean,
I've got some thoughts, because like I said, I've been thinking about this, but I haven't settled on anything.
So there's, immediately coming to mind, there's Fuddruckers.
That's a good, funny name, but is the restaurant funny? I don't know even if I know of Fuddruckers. I don't know anything about, like, what even the food is they serve.
I have been to one, but it's been a very long time. I don't really remember it.
See, I'm thinking it might be Rallies or Checkers, depending on where you're at, because, like, they just don't give a fuck. You ever look at their full menu? It's huge. Like, you could get wings, burger, chicken.
It's true. I've gotten wings from Rallies.
And then they have, like, a whole Cheesecake Factory level dessert menu too. And it's like 3 drunk people working there that just hate their lives.
You've kind of described any good diner in America.
True, but diners are great and they're not funny, but there's something about Rallies to me that is hilarious.
Rallies feels like just a condensed drive-through diner.
The other one that comes to mind is Subway, but it's because they just keep eating shit. It seems like every month in the weirdest ways. First you had what's-his-face that was a terrible person.
Jared.
And then they get sued because their footlongs are only 11 inches. And then what was it last year? It came out that there's like no fish in their tuna. And like people are like, then what is it?
Oh, you know, it's just some stuff.
But Austin, what is the funniest restaurant?
I mean, I can't help but think about the ridiculous Wendy's training videos.
Don't forget to smile when you serve cold drinks. Always say thank you to the guest.
Those are good, but then you also have like the McDonald's training Nintendo DS game.
Is it even a fast food restaurant that's the funniest?
I mean, I was thinking Shoney's, if we're not doing fast food. Because it's just like the blandest thing ever made. And they don't even try to hide that that's what they are. We don't really have those in Ohio, but if you've ever been to one, you know.
Yeah, I get it. I guess it didn't make enough of an impression on me to think it's the funniest, but I get it.
Part of me was thinking racks as well, but then they're just kind of sad. It's not funny.
Do they even exist?
Yeah, there's one outside of Chillicothe.
Okay. How are they still here?
I don't know.
Rex, I need to know. Is it Long John Silver's?
That could be. That's up there. Because it shouldn't exist. And then damn do they try hard. And most of them are like now tax places. You can tell if it was a Long John Silver's definitively an old building. And that's always kind of funny.
And if it's still around, it's probably a 2-in-1 restaurant.
Oh man, you go to the one that's like the root beer, A&W, get you a root beer float with like a chicken basket. Oh, it's so good.
See?
With a thing of free crumbs.
That's what I'm saying. They're piggybacking on someone else.
You wouldn't think that a root beer float would work with fish, but it kind of does.
Why wouldn't you think that?
I don't know. I could go for root beer float right now. That sounds pretty good.
Is that gonna be your beverage tonight?
No, but you got my wheels turned. I never thought about doing a float or like a shake.
You could.
But you mentioned it. What are you imbibing tonight?
So tonight I have from Saucy Brew Works an Imperial White Pastry Stout called Foxbia.
Ooh, that sounds delicious.
I will let you know. I also have a pre-roll, and I don't know what it is. It was given to me by my friend Sam.
Nice. Little mystery going on. It could just be salvia, and this could get interesting.
Oh shit, that beer is fucking good. Damn, fuck, that's good. It tastes like a candle in the best possible way.
That could mean anything.
It means vanilla in this case.
I mean, it could be like Gwyneth Paltrow's pussy.
I'd buy that beer once, but, it's not what I'm looking for.
Not at this point in your life.
Call me in a few years.
It could be a sour with like live yeast.
No, Jesus.
Today I'm gonna be dipping
Yeah.
Magic Seal regular strength into itch cream.
I'm sorry.
I do love sours. It's only sounding more appealing.
Oh, man. I think Iron Man would have something to say about that, though.
I'll take a yeast imperial over here.
I'll take a Gwenny.
Oh man, she should partner with Genesee, McGwenesee. Gwenesee Cream Ale. We are full of great marketing ideas. Only one of us went to college for it.
Yeah, I do actually have a marketing minor.
I don't.
I went to Menards.
That is not a college.
Well, I'm saying for my drink. I was transitioning into my drink choice.
Okay, likely story.
I saved big money. And they have a weird grocery section, which is strange. Menards are so weird. I feel uncomfortable there.
They make me think of Megalomart.
At Megalomart, you're shopping for the rest of your life.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. But I got the Griffin ginger beer. It says supernaturally flavored with real ginger. And then at the top, it says live the daring life made with natural antioxidant honey. So this is going to be a wild drink. I haven't tried it yet.
I think I might have had that before, actually. I've spent a lot of time in Menards, let me just say.
It smells a bit spicy.
I also went to college at Menards, saved big money on my degree.
Did you meet Chuck Mangione there?
He was living there.
We are working in so many levels of stupid jokes tonight.
Yep, we are.
Yep.
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 It's pretty good. It smells spicier than it is, which is not bad. I was just hoping for a little more bite, when you get a good like ginger beer. But that's pretty tasty.
Very nice.
I got another one from there too that I have tried since recording, and it's like it says fire roasted. It's like a whole line of fire roasted sodas, and I don't even know what that means. But the ginger one was just okay. It was weird. You could taste the fire. It was odd.
Smoky soda.
It was. And I like smoky scotch, so I thought I might like that and didn't like it.
Now you know.
So should we get to the sack soup seasoning?
Sack soup seasoning.
I'm about to season my hose.
I hate soup. It's the wettest of foods.
Oh, soup, right. Yeah, right.
No soup for you! Soup! Thrilling 3-day soup spectacular!
Waiter, there's a fly in my soup. Could you do something about it?
I hope you all enjoyed the new sack soup seasoning drop for season 2.
I am currently sitting in my seasoned soup. It is a lovely blue color. And today that lovely blue color was created by a Dorothy from Golden Girls bath bomb.
That's wonderful.
It was fantastic. I took pictures of it. We'll have to post them. They're great. This was another bath bomb from Ivy Moon Body Care on Instagram and Etsy. She was the one who did the toaster that I had previously.
Nice.
And these bath bombs are absolutely wonderful. This one surprised me, I'll admit. It was like painted looking, whatever. It looked like Dorothy. And then that wore off because water, and it was all white. I'm like, okay, I mean, that's not super eventful, but it smells really good. It's really clean smelling. Like, this is nice. And then it like hit the center and all this like blue and pink and purple and shit came out.
Ooh. This kind of reminds me of the Black Panther one I had that shot out different colors.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think you mentioned what scent it is.
I'm not sure. But it's very
It's
clean
old lady
smelling.
scented?
Yeah, old lady scented.
Like potpourri. My grandma used to always have potpourri. Like, can you even buy that still?
Yeah, you can still buy potpourri.
So mine, I went with a bit of a theme because we were supposed to record like a week or two ago and then shit got busy again. But Easter was recent and I got a Peeps bath bomb that is vanilla marshmallow scented. And it looks like a little peep. And because this was, I'm sure, not going to be the strongest, I also have a second I'm going to add. It is A88 CBD Alkaline 88 hemp-derived CBD 100% natural bath bomb that is lavender scented.
So lavender, vanilla, marshmallow?
That sounds delicious. You ever had a lavender flavored marshmallow? It's really good.
I don't think I can say I have.
So the Peeps is going in now, under the knees, where it belongs. And now the lavender CBD one. Oh, and then I also have some Nag Champa incense, the classic, going too.
Very
The
nice.
Peeps one's not doing much, but man, this CBD one's going wild. It's like a freshly cracked bottle of Sprite in here right now, Austin.
Did you put them directly against your hose?
I did the Peep one. I tried the CBD one, but it floated immediately, and it's I don't know where it went. I can't see it underneath my table now, but I can hear it. There it is. It's over in the corner.
Welcome to season 2. We finally made it.
We finally made it. And as we mentioned on the last episode, we are doing it didn't even last a whole season. It was like half a season. The Napoleon Dynamite animated series. And boy, is this a weird show.
It is. I think I've watched 3 episodes so far.
I think I've watched 3 as well. Mostly because the episodes are way out of order. Again, we keep picking shows that their order online is just completely fucked up.
Well, okay, so The Tick was bad, but The Tick was bad because The Tick made it bad.
Mm-hmm.
Napoleon Dynamite is bad because we're watching it on Tubi?
Yes.
And the episodes are mislabeled and completely out of order.
Yeah, the names are all wrong. They have them labeled on the names are on the wrong episodes.
So that's why I've watched 2 episodes that were not the first episode before finally finding the first episode. And there was a little bit of confusion as well because I did go online to reference the episodes and try to figure out what the hell was going on. And the premiere was a double feature. So at first I thought, oh, okay, it's just the first 2 episodes are swapped from what they actually aired as. And then I got deeper into it and I'm like, oh no, these are all wrong.
You know what's funny after watching it? I watched the premiere. Like, I have a distinct memory of it now. Like, we like got together in college. I think we came out like my freshman year in like one of our dorms and watched it.
Weird.
Before we get too deep into it, you are not a big Napoleon Dynamite fan, are you?
That's a fact.
What is it about it that you don't like?
I think something I've discovered about myself over the last few months is that while I am a fan of absurdist comedy, I am not a fan of all absurdist comedy. And Napoleon Dynamite falls, and honestly, that director and writer's material falls into that category for me.
See, I think part of it was that may have been the first absurdist comedy that I ever watched, because I think it came out when we were in like 7th grade.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Because I remember having a Napoleon Dynamite gym shirt in junior high. I think part of it, there was part of me that like, you know, trying to be cool because it was like the biggest movie ever when it came out. It was like, oh, I don't want to be mainstream. But like at the same time, I did find it absolutely hilarious. It's like, you know what? I'm trying to hate on this, but I love it. I meant to watch it before we recorded this just to get refreshed. But I remember watching it, I think it was last spring, and like still laughing a shit ton. My family also loves it. Like, my parents loved it. My grandparents weirdly thought it was really funny too. Like, I distinctly remember my grandma having it on a lot.
Yeah, it never really did anything for me. I will say though that through the medium of animation, this doesn't bother me the way the movie does.
And it's funny, I did do a little research on, because like, we'll get into it. This cartoon is like nothing like the movie. It's still super weird, but it's nothing like the movie. But I read an interview with the director, and he said that the animated show is actually how he imagined Napoleon Dynamite, but it was too strange for them to be able to do in movie form. So this is like the true vision of Napoleon Dynamite.
Better. It is still the same actors like throughout.
Right. It is the same characters, but that's about the ending of the similarities. So this is episode 1, Thundercone.
Yes, it is. Which is like episode 4 or something on Tubi.
Yeah, with a different name. This begins with the intro sequence. It jumps right in. It's the opposite of The Tick, which didn't have their intro in the first episode. But this starts with it, which I kind of dig. I like when, you know, I think first episodes, you either got to start with it or end with it. It's kind of weird that The Tick didn't have it at all. But doing it at like the normal place after the first like 3 or 4 minutes, like on the first episode, I feel like is a missed opportunity.
Sure.
To either like start the vibe, like this is what you're watching with like the intro, or like I think we even did it with our first episode. We put the theme at the end because it's just, I don't know, it's like if you enjoyed it, like bam, here it is, and it gets you like pumped for the next one.
Did it work?
And yeah, the intro has a lot of references to the movie. I didn't write down specifically what those were, so now I don't remember, but it's like, oh, okay, this is gonna be like the movie, and that's, as I said, not the case.
Yeah, I also don't know exactly what the references to the movie were. Again, I haven't watched it in quite a while at this point, but basically Napoleon misses the bus and runs after it. He catches up and is pulled into the back door by his 2 friends, literally as the bus stops in front of the school.
I didn't even make that connection, but that's pretty funny.
Yeah, they pull him into the back and the bus stops and lets everyone out.
That's funny. You're right. Like, I'm remembering now, like, what it is, and I was like, I didn't even make that connection, but that's great.
And along the way, we see characters and businesses that are recognizable from the movie.
Mm-hmm. Then the episode opens at a gas station called La Tienda.
Which just means store.
Yes, it's just the store. Uncle Rico's buying wiper blades and a off-brand energy drink called Fire Brain.
Didn't even catch that.
Which is very of the time. Like, if you lived back when Napoleon Dynamite came out, I don't think people realized just how strange and wild energy drinks were back then.
You can still buy cocaine.
You can. You can. I remember getting that. It's like Smarties, but it makes your whole throat burn for like 20 minutes after.
It's very spicy.
Kip wants to buy a tiny rolled up horoscope. Like, what the fuck?
Yep.
I was so confused, but if I was at a gas station and saw like little tiny rolled up horoscopes for sale, I might buy one too because that's the strangest thing ever. They're all asking Grandma to buy this stuff, even though, you know, Kip is a fully adult man. She, though, is buying dinner at this gas station. Chicken, which, you know, chicken from a gas station can be pretty good.
Probably not in this case, I would imagine.
No, because the attendant lets her know that it's been sitting underneath the heat lamp for 3 entire days, but they buy it anyway.
Yeah. Yep.
How many hours has this chicken been under this heat lamp?
Depends. How many hours is in 3 days?
So outside of La Tienda, the family sits together at a picnic table eating their gas station chicken. And Kip and Napoleon both go for the last piece and fight over it.
There is a great line, though. It's not going to be my favorite, but the delivery was amazing. Napoleon says to Kip, quit hogging all the breast meat, and Kip just straight faces, Napoleon, I already called this baby. Like, what a strange way to reference the chicken you were trying to eat. I already called this baby.
I don't think I had that line down. I have a decent amount of lines from the scene, but I don't think I had that one. I do think it's funny. They interrupt him by dragging him into the fight and asking him to break it up, basically. He's reading a book called Quarterback Detective.
His mind is getting blown at every page.
It is. The cover is literally a quarterback running with a football and a gun. And he's reading, he's like, Brian was a quarterback, but he was also a detective. And he's like, man, I'm so confused.
Sometimes I long for that kind of smooth brain. Life would be better. Because he's having a great time. But like you said, Kip and Napoleon start getting into a fight over this. And Kip tells Napoleon that he wants him to tell him 3 times that he's stolen his stuff in chronological order. The first one might be my favorite. It flashes back to Napoleon in a crib sucking on a pacifier, and Kip is like maybe teenage. Walks over, pulls the pacifier out of Napoleon's mouth and just sticks it in his own mouth and starts sucking away. Like, what a strange move. But also like a weirdly powerful one. Like,
Power
that's a
move.
sign of dominance.
Big power move.
Over a baby.
Now, I've always been very passionate about dominating other men.
After that, Napoleon is also in flashback, waiting to give his Christmas list to a mall Santa, at which point Kip cuts in front of him, sits on Santa's lap, gives his list to Santa, and tells Santa to take a break, which Santa does, and he leaves. Napoleon tries to run after him, but there's an elf that's like, scram, Santa will be back next year.
And then the next one was, I think, the point when I realized that this show was going to be a wild ride. Because it's another flashback where they're at a county fair, and it's one of those, like, Gravitron rides that, like, you strap in and then it spins really fast and you're slammed against the back of the wall. And Kip just grabs they walk in together, sit next to each other, and Kip, like, pulls Napoleon's seatbelt over to his side so he's doubly locked up, and it goes going, and Napoleon just flies out through the air to the other side of the fair.
Yep. That's what happens.
At this point, Kip is, proven wrong. He gets mad and throws a piece of the chicken skin onto Napoleon's forehead, and the grease gets all down his face and eyes, and he runs off mad.
Well, Kip throws the skin, and it's on his forehead, and while Napoleon can't see, Kip immediately runs to Rico's van and sits inside eating the chicken.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, he immediately runs over to the van and just keeps eating the chicken in safety. But after he does that, as all this just happens, Napoleon blinded by grease, Kip running off, Rico says, "Oh man, the diamonds are in the football. I did not see that coming."
I want to read this book.
Quarterback detective, man.
Mm-hmm.
Then we jump back to Napoleon's house.
It's not Napoleon's house, it's the grandma's house.
You're correct. They all live there. Grandma's house. And Grandma is spray painting abs on Kip.
Yep.
Which Kip asks if the abs are waterproof because Misty and I might go hot tubbing.
Yep, and Grandma does not believe that Kip has an actual girl that he's talking to online. And to prove it, Kip asks Grandma to read his messages with her on the computer. And man, what a risky move.
Weird move. Bold move.
I would never.
Nope.
To each his own. But like, what I was confused about is what happened to LaFonda?
Can't tell you that.
Oh, so it's a secret?
Because, I mean, that kind of made me sad that, he's moved on because they seemed like a great couple together.
Is the series definitively based after the movie?
That's a good question. I don't know where on the timeline it lands.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I just assumed after because it was released after. But you could be right. But Napoleon walks in then with an article of clothing that gave me the strongest flashback I did not expect. He has these bare feet slippers, and my dad had the exact same ones when I was a kid. Like, the exact same ones.
And not like slippers that look like your bare feet, but slippers that look like a bear's
like a grizzly.
Claws.
Yeah. But, like, what a wild pole. Like, that's a thing that existed and that my dad had.
Oh, yeah.
His forehead, though, is all broken out and just looks terrible. Napoleon, not my dad's. My dad's forehead's fine.
Should we call and check on him?
If it wasn't 11, I might.
Dad, how's your forehead doing? You got your bear claw slippers on? Are you drunk?
Yeah. But, Grandma and Kip both, look at his forehead and are like horrified as they probably should be. Grandma goes and pulls a knife out to pop them.
Yeah, she demands that he goes to the bathroom and pop them because they're making her sick. And he tries to pop one in front of her and proves to her that they're not ready.
It's not there yet, which is like, I remember being a teenager, you know when they're ready. Because if you tried to before, it's not going to happen. It just won't.
But she says that he's not trying hard enough and tries herself, fails. Kip suggests a knife, and she pulls this giant hunting knife from a holster on her leg and starts heating it with a candle lighter.
But like, that's not far off from how I used to pop zits, or I guess I still do when I get them occasionally, is I take a sewing needle and sanitize it with a lighter.
I mean, worse things to do.
Like what Grandma's attempting.
Yeah.
Though
right.
I any grandma that has a thigh holster with a huge ass knife, like, I want to know her story.
Oh, you can't handle her story. That's a whole other absurd series that'll never get made.
That's a whole ass podcast though. I can't remember what it's called, but it's where writers, like professional show writers, bring their scripts that were approved but never made, and they like actually reenact them. So who knows? There might be something like that out there on one of those episodes.
Maybe. But anyways, when she pulls the knife out and starts heating it up, Napoleon runs out the front door saying, "You guys are idiots."
He's not wrong.
I mean,
you guys are idiots.
We then cut to Idaho Drugs and Dairy, a store. I also want to visit this store because it just sounds wild. I hope that exists.
What, some small town pharmacy?
Yeah, where you can get drugs and dairy in Idaho. If I was in Idaho, I might need some drugs and dairy.
Why are you here?
Drugs.
You're in Ohio right now, and you can go to like Walgreens or CVS, and you can get drugs and dairy. And they also have those stores in Idaho. So, yes, you can. Even if it's not Idaho Drugs and Dairy, you can absolutely do this in one place. Also, most grocery stores have pharmacies now, so...
Yes.
I don't feel like this is much of an anomaly as you're acting.
I just love the name.
You have many opportunities to get drugs and dairy in and outside of Idaho.
God, this is a weird episode of our podcast already. But we go inside of... We don't. I would. But the show does. And it's Kip and Napoleon. And Kip is trying
Rico.
You're right. I wrote Kip, but it is Rico. Rico and Napoleon are in there, and Rico's trying to help Napoleon find the best acne cream for this. And he finds one called Roaccutane. And it's the last tube, and the pharmacist says that it is the only tube that's going to be there because it has been banned by the FDA, DEA, and WNBA.
And just before finding this tube and suggesting it blindly to Napoleon, Rico suggested perhaps they aren't zits, but they're eggs from hobo spiders.
I didn't write that down.
Embedded in his forehead.
That's terrifying. I don't even want to joke about that because that gives me the willies just to think about.
Rico was sitting right there reading that damn book when the whole thing happened.
See, he probably missed it. He was too engrossed.
Oh, man. The diamonds are in the football. I did not see that coming.
But they buy this tube of Roaccutane, and from this pharmacist we find out never actually went to pharmacy school.
That's true.
That's the last tube I'm legally allowed to sell. It's been banned by the FDA, the DEA, and the WNBA.
Is it safe?
Quit bothering the pharmacist. He probably has student loans to worry about.
Between you and me, I didn't even go to college.
And so ends the story of Idaho drugs and dairy, because then we cut to the high school.
Right on.
Yeah, so out front there's a sign that says, "Wanted, teacher that understands math."
It's a good thing to have at a school.
So we go inside then to Napoleon in the bathroom reading the Roaccutane tube. It says, "Warning, physical side effects include bad breath, BO, lust, increased pain threshold, and fits of unbridled rage."
My rage has never been unbridled.
I want to find a tube of this.
Well, it's banned by the WNBA.
Well, it's a good thing I'm not in that I know of.
Well, perhaps you are. Superstar. Napoleon says, "Yeah, right," and squirts a hefty sum of goop onto his hand. He puts the cream on his forehead, and it burns off in a puff of smoke.
Yeah, his forehead immediately starts smoking.
Yeah. Yep. So then he walks into the Happy Hands Club after exiting the bathroom, presumably.
Which is a callback to the movie. That's a thing that Napoleon's in the movie.
Okay, so they're in this class that, if you don't know, they listen to old music and tap their index fingers and thumbs together.
It's like hand dancing, is how it's shown in the movie. Like, it's like interpretive dancing that concentrates on your hands.
So they're hand dancing. They're just tapping their fingers together.
Same thing.
The teacher reacts to Napoleon's still smoking forehead. And Napoleon's just like, "It's okay." The teacher says it smells like burnt lasagna. So now we got that, going with the smoking forehead.
I bet it does, though. Like, if your forehead's burning from a chemical burn, I can imagine that's probably what it would smell like.
A little cheesy, a little meaty.
Especially if you got BO going on, then you definitely have, like, the cheese odor.
So Napoleon says he doesn't feel anything, and a bead of sweat rolls down his face and onto the floor, burning a hole right through the floor like acid. And Pedro looks up through said hole, and he's like, "Hey, Napoleon."
It's like, "Hey, Pedro." We cut then back to the bathroom, and Pedro's with Napoleon, and Pedro's drinking like a big old slushy. What does he call it? Turbo slush?
Turbo slush, yes indeed.
And Napoleon asks Pedro to pour the turbo slush onto his smoking forehead, and Pedro's like, "Oh, okay." And so Napoleon bends his head over the sink. He pours the slush on his forehead, and at first it seems to quell everything, but then it gets absorbed into his skin and it starts smoking again.
Yeah, before it starts smoking, Pedro says, "I think it's working. The zits are like drinking the juice."
What a line. You almost made me spit my Griffin beer.
Don't do that. It's valuable.
Yeah, I had that start as a good line, because Napoleon's response is even funnier. Because he says, "I think it's working. The zits are like drinking the juice," and Napoleon just says, "Thanks."
And then puff of smoke. Never mind.
What is the thanks for?
For the juice. After the turbo slush, Pedro asks if it hurts, and Napoleon says, "No, but I'm having a lot of strange desires." And he says he wants to get married and go on a honeymoon, but mainly he feels like crushing people's lives. And Pedro's like, sounds like lust and unbridled rage. And then he smashes the bathroom sink with his forehead.
Sweet! My rage has never been unbridled. I've always hated that sink.
It was at this point at the episode that I really just started laughing a lot. Just through the end of the episode.
Here on out, nonstop laughter for you?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Because I was kind of iffy on it up until this point. I was like, this is kind of corny and lame. And then it hits this scene and just keeps going.
Oh, it goes.
We cut then to Grandma dropping Kip off to meet this mystery girl. But Grandma has a sweet car. I don't know what it was, but it's just like, you know, your stereotypical like 70s like long ass boat of like a Cadillac or Lincoln or something.
Right.
But he gets dropped off at this store or something, and we see the girl, and it comes up, I think when Kip is talking to Grandma, that she says, Kip, do something or whatever. And she's like, wait, are you Kip? And at first, she's not into him. She's like kind of skeezed out by him, which ain't fair. But Kip then makes the wildest move possible, and it pays off.
So, rewind. Was the address song in the movie?
No.
Okay.
Can you describe that? Because I didn't have that in my notes.
Yeah, so when Grandma's dropping Kip off, she says, now, Kip, if this girl turns out to be a kidnapper, do you remember the address song? And Kip sings this song that goes, my name is Kipling Dynamite. I live in Preston, Idaho. 143 Chitney Lane. Return me to my grandma. And Kip's... I put this in my note. Kip's singing it to this old tune, and I was sitting there, I'm like, I recognize this, but I cannot place what it is. I'm pretty sure it's 10 Little Indians.
I can see that.
My name is Kipling Dynamite. I live in Preston, Idaho. 143 Chitney Lane. Return me to my grandma.
Then Grandma offers Kip Tic Tacs, and he's like, ooh, breath pellets. Like you said, there's a girl on a bench, and she's like, did you say your name's Kipling Dynamite? And she's holding a sack of dog treats, and he's like, you must be Misty. And then, yes, here is where Kip makes a move.
It's a move.
Misty looks at him, and she's like making eyebrows, Kip's making eyebrows at her, and she's like, yeah, I have to go. And he's like, wait. Are your abs getting hot? Mine sure are. And he lifts his shirt, fanning his spray painted on abs. And she is, for some reason, impressed.
What a line! I had to stop the episode because I was laughing so hard. Wait, are your abs getting hot? Mine sure are. Like, that's a panic move. Panic move. But it works.
It worked. Poor Misty.
Well, I felt like that at that point, but I don't actually feel bad for her where the episode goes. But
I mean, I feel bad for her just for different reasons, I guess.
I feel sad for her, I suppose. But we'll get to that.
There's some self-awareness there. I feel a little bad.
Mm-hmm. We cut then to gym class at the high school. Napoleon makes a weird move at Deb.
Hey, Deb, did I ever tell you how big of a babe you are? I just want you to know that if my girlfriend in Oklahoma ever dies, I'd totally marry you.
That's it.
She's like, are you okay? He's like, yes, I'm fine. Can I kiss the top of your hand for $1?
You know, we all made some weird moves in high school towards women. So that's probably one of the least weird you could do, I suppose. Well, not least weird, but there could have been way worse.
Luckily, Pedro is there to say that his zit cream is making him loco.
True. Good wingman right there. The coach comes out and says they're going to play an old-timey frontier game called Smear the Deer. This is a wild game. The rules of the game are one person, Napoleon, is going to put on deer antlers and everyone's going to kill him, basically.
Pretty much.
You know, we had a strange junior high and high school gym class, I feel like. So I wouldn't have been surprised if that was something that happened at our old-timey frontier high school.
Was it weird? I don't know. I skipped it half the time.
You did. So
memorably not there.
True. I do remember that. But Napoleon is the deer, and of course, he has this unbridled rage, and he wrecks house, man. I'm pretty sure if this was real life, some of these kids would be dead.
I mean, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and the coach describes that the other kid or, students are supposed to act as hungry pioneer children, attracting the deer, or attacking the deer. I wrote my notes wrong. Attracting the deer would be a whole other game. Probably not high school safe.
Oh, Bambi.
I'm Bambi.
Good morning, Bambi.
Oh, dear.
Oh, dear, indeed.
Oh, dear. Napoleon basically kills these students and knocks the entire football thing. What's the goalposts? I'm tired. Knocks those down as he runs towards the high school and he gets called into the gym teacher's office.
There was a funny little gag during that scene. Don grabs onto Napoleon's antlers and Napoleon bucks him and he goes flying over towards the goalpost where the marching band's practicing.
Oh, yes, this was hilarious.
And the music teacher
really
is instructing a student about how to hold a tuba. He's like, you don't hold
Not
it
a
like
tuba, sousaphone.
Sorry, sousaphone, you're right. Although he says tuba in the episode.
But we both know what that is.
So, student holding a sousaphone, teacher says, you don't hold a tuba like that. You aim it skyward, setting it up for Don to land in the tuba bell. Instead, he lands directly on the teacher.
I'll have to reshare this because it's very funny. It's a classic, messing with your expectations, but it's done very, very well. Man, my water looks like either lemonade or piss from this Peep. I got Peep piss water.
Well, that is certainly a sentence.
Yep, and I said it.
So yeah, at that point, the teacher blows the whistle, ends the game, and the gym teacher says, Napoleon, in my office now. And Napoleon says, no, why don't you go to my office? The gym teacher's like, you don't have an office. So Napoleon says, fine, we'll use yours.
I didn't have that written down, but I should have.
This is a good little exchange.
Fine.
So Napoleon runs into the school, punches the field goal post, and knocks it over. They talk inside the gym teacher's office. Coach is impressed, and he says, have you ever heard of the PPC?
This is in my top 3 lines. It's not my number 1, I don't think, but man, it's up there because Napoleon responds, oh yeah, the Preston Pediatric Coalition? Of course, they paid for my brother's polio shoes.
Yes, really good.
I don't know why I find that so funny, but it is.
Of course, the gym teacher corrects him and says, no, I'm talking about the original PPC, the Pioneer Punch Club. He explains that it's a secret underground fight club dating back to pioneer times.
Right, but it was banned 20 years ago, so they just moved it to a different day.
Yes, it's held on Wednesdays instead now. It used to be on Tuesdays.
That's pioneer law right there. That's admissible in court.
Right, they give us a setup for this fight club.
That's what it is. It's a fight club because they show
it's a fight club. Hold on, we're not allowed to talk about that. It's a punch club.
Right.
They set it up with a Pioneer Times flashback, and local farm boys regularly had to defend themselves against grizzly bears, river trash, and pageant carnies, apparently.
I mean, that's my day-to-day. And the 110 feral hogs that we all have to defend ourselves from.
We're not wild hogs, we're like wild lambs. It's just a patch that Doug's wife made.
So, in this flashback, this local farm boy is faced with all 3 at once and, quite frankly, whoops their asses. So from there, the boys would test their combat skills against each other in like sparring basically every Tuesday night. But like you said, when it was banned 20 years ago, they moved it up to Wednesdays. So Napoleon says, coming back from the flashback, so you want me to go back in time 20 years and kill the Idaho State Legislature?
I didn't write that down. I don't even remember that line, but that's very funny. Like I said, after that one scene, I literally was laughing the first time watching this, almost to the end of the episode.
Despite that bold response from Napoleon, the coach still thinks that he has what it takes to be the next PPC champion. He says he's willing to bet his entire salary as gym coach. And Napoleon's like, that's like $6,000. And gym coach is like, yeah, I wish.
Good gym coach gag right there.
Gym coach can't afford to be nefarious.
No. Can any of us?
No. We jump back to Kip's date.
Oh my gosh, what a date it is.
Kip and Misty are sharing a diner booth. And there's a band playing.
And this is essentially a Chuck E. Cheese.
Which Kip brags that he's seen this band 137 times. And that they've never played a bad show. Of course, he's talking about animatronics at a Chuck E. Cheese type establishment, as you said.
It's called Goof Nuts Pizza.
Yep, Goof Nuts Pizza with an animal band featuring Abe Lincoln wearing sunglasses in a log cabin.
Austin, I didn't even think about it. Chuck E. Cheese might be the funniest restaurant.
Cool Chuck and me, we take our shot. The place is cool and the fun is hot. Cool Chuck and me, cool so cool. Chuck E. Cheese, that's cool, it's cool.
Maybe.
Do you know what the E in Chuck E. Cheese stands for? What his middle name is? Chuck E. Cheese's official name, this isn't a joke, it was at some point on their website, is Charles Entertainment Cheese.
I knew it was entertainment. I was gonna say that.
What a weird name. You could just pick like Edward or something. Like, why did you make it entertainment?
Chuck Entertainment Cheese.
Charles Entertainment Cheese. My next kid, maybe that's a middle name for him. So during this date, there's a few good lines during this date, but in this particular scene, at some point, Misty, in a saucy voice, looks over at Kip and says, "You're not like many men." And Kip looks back and says, "You know I'm not." He's living his truth, man. He's at his favorite restaurant with a girl that's into him and his abs, into his bizarre vibe, and he's got no shame.
Yep, she's weirdly into it. He's thriving. It doesn't make any sense, but he manages to convince her to come back to his grandma's house so he can burn her some CDs of the Goof Nuts band because he has them all, and she apparently likes them now. Too. Yep.
It's funny. I started writing it down that it's funny that he would still be burning CDs, but then I remembered when this came out, and that is what a normal person would have done then.
Yep, we were burning CDs then.
What a different time.
So we don't get to see them go back to grandma's yet, though. We cut back to now the Pioneer Punch Club.
Yeah, Nap and Pedro are on bikes next to a cornfield. And they think they haven't come to the right place or the right date, and then we hear some commotion and a man goes flying through the air.
And they realize they're in the right place.
They do. So they walk through this PPC event, and there is some wild shit going on, Austin. There's some wild shit going down here. One man's just fighting a donkey.
Punching it in the ass, honestly.
Punching an ass in the ass. Another man is pulling himself across these monkey bars that are 200 feet off the ground with a pig betwist his legs.
Yep.
There's a circle of literal children just punching each other.
Sure.
And then what I'm calling it now. This is my favorite line in the entire episode, and it's 2 words there's two men fighting, and one of them screams, "Nipple twist," and grabs the other man's nipples. And then he looks at him and says, "Reverse!" And then his nipples untwist the other way and send the guy flying through the air.
Yep.
I laughed for like a good 5 minutes after that. It's so unexpected and funny. Reversing a purple nipple.
That's a strong nipple.
You can continue. You need to calm down.
There was also cockfighting. There were two men standing on a tire having a bout with poles that had live chickens roped to the ends.
I didn't even make that connection. That's funny.
Yeah. So Rex and Starla roll up to Pedro and Napoleon in giant hamster balls.
I want one.
And Rex says, "What do you know if it isn't Tinkerbell and his girlfriend Taco Bell?"
Is that racist?
I mean, kinda, yeah. So he's like, "You have 32 seconds to tell me what you're doing on this property." Napoleon tells them that Coach Pratt sent them. And Rex says, before Coach Pratt, that he was a skinny kid obsessed with college and he owes his life to him. And Starla says that she was just a lonely girl wandering Chernobyl, and lets out a somewhat operatic battle cry and rolls away in her hamster ball.
She was not that weird in the movie.
She's something now.
She's like an X-Men. But, so, Napoleon's asking questions about how this all works, and he points towards this big, grain silo and asks what that is, and Rex is like, "Oh, you have to prove yourself before we tell you about that." And Napoleon's like, "Well, what can you just, please tell me?" He's like, "Oh, okay." I feel like that was a pretty good Rex.
Not bad.
But he finds out that's the Thundercone, and you have to beat up the badger studs to earn your right to fight there.
Yeah, he goes through the pecking order for him, which is Rainbow Trout Division, which shows elementary school aged kids playing Duck Duck Goose, but the kid who's it punches the goose. In this scenario, the puncher runs off and the goose cries, and Rex is like, "Don't cry, Timmy. Don't you dare cry."
Doesn't he, suck his tear back up into his eye?
Yeah, I think he does. So then they got the Cougar Pups after that. They're middle school aged kids, and they're trying to dodge corn cobs being shot from a corn cob cannon, turret gun looking thing by Starla. And a cannon nails this one kid in the leg and breaks it.
Ah! My leg is broke.
Walk it off, Greg. Walk it off.
I can see why the Idaho legislation banned this group.
On Tuesdays, though.
Mm-hmm.
After that is the Badger Studs, who you're supposed to defeat to be in the Thundercone. And these are grown men bare knuckle fighting. And this is when the nipple twist reverse happens.
Oh, it's this, see.
And then, like you said, Rex tells them what the Thundercone is, what's up there. Napoleon's excited to hear that Pedro has heard that 20 people die there a day, apparently.
Yes, he's very excited. This unbridled rage and lust has him Joneses for some Thundercone.
He wipes a fresh coat of Roaccutane on his forehead and grabs a pitchfork from one of the studs and takes all the Badger Studs on. First, he plants the tines of that pitchfork in the ground, and they're all in a circle around him, and he runs around the handle, on all of the men. They all fall down except for one. And he's like, "Please, I have a daughter." And Napoleon says, "Then go to her and tell her who spared your life this day."
We've made a mistake.
We make many of those.
I think we're going to have to make this a two-parter.
How did we take a fucking 20-minute or less animated fucking comedy and drag it out like this?
Oh shit, what the fuck? There's a bug. Ah, it just landed in the tub. Ah! Ah! It's not, get out. Big old stink bug. Sorry.
I'm glad that was all on video.
Me too. Well, do we want to say, I think I already said my favorite line of the whole episode.
I thought you were going to ask me if we wanted to say Grace.
Grace!
We can.
Grace! She passed away 30 years ago.
What are we doing, Austin? Do we want to say our favorite line from the first half or just save it and do it all at the end?
We can save it for the end.
I think that works for in this situation because it's a shorter thing than Everything You Know Is Wrong.
Is there any recommendations you'd like to leave the listeners with to fill the gap between part 1 and part 2 of episode 1 of season 2?
Yeah, actually, I got a few things. Like I said, I've been kind of going through it mentally, with some other issues, but I didn't actually mean to talk about this, but just, I posted something about it on LinkedIn the other day, which I think is like the second time I've ever posted on LinkedIn. But if your company offers an EAP program, give them a call. I was always like, if it's free, you usually get so many free therapy sessions through an EAP program. I was like, is it going to be half-ass or Dollar Tree therapy? But they were great when I called. Our EAP program found a local therapist that they thought fit what I was looking for and called them with me on the phone to set up the appointment and talk through what I was needing. The therapist has been great. I've gone twice. So if your company has an EAP program and there's anything you want to talk about or get started with therapy, give it a call. I didn't think it would be good. My other recommendation is maybe the best therapy I've ever had is sawing logs, literally. We had some trees fall down and I have a chainsaw, and there's nothing more therapeutic than just cutting up some wood with a chainsaw. It's the fucking greatest feeling ever. So if you have a friend that has a chainsaw, learn how to use it safely, and then go find some trees that you're allowed to cut up, and you'll just feel a billion times better after, I promise.
Not applicable if you live in an apartment.
I mean, it can't, find somebody who doesn't live in an apartment that, that...
And kill him with a chainsaw.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, don't do that. Shit.
Run! Run for your lives!
Find someone with trees and a chainsaw, use said chainsaw to kill said person.
And then steal their trees. It's a perfect plan.
Perfect crime.
Man, I love cutting up trees with chainsaw. Cutting with an axe is fun for a bit, but that's exhausting. Having a machine do it, but you're the one doing it, that's power. So 2 very different suggestions, but both valid, I think.
Therapy and chainsaws.
Yeah, that's nature's therapy right there.
I like to mix the 2 recklessly all the time.
That's kind of what I just suggested.
Kind of.
What are your suggestions to keep our listeners sane until the next episode?
I've only got one to suggest this time, but I've talked about this a little bit on this podcast previously. Despite the fact that I have a podcast with one of my best friends, I don't listen to them as much as I'd like to. I have kind of a mental block about certain things, and that is one of them. Audiobooks is also another one of them.
Oh, I love those too.
I have a hard time committing to something like that if I'm unsure or I know I can't finish the episode or finish the chapter.
I can see that.
So it makes me listen to them far, far less. And what I'll say is that over the last, month or 2 maybe, I have gotten really into a podcast called The Chinwag.
I have literally never heard of that, and as you know, I listen to podcasts almost nonstop.
So I have been listening to this one nonstop. I have been breaking all of my rules about stopping and starting episodes. I seriously, I can't put this thing down. It is hosted by Paul Giamatti and Stephen Asma.
Why do those names sound familiar? Who are those people?
Paul Giamatti is a famous actor.
In what?
Sideways, Big Fat Liar, Billions.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. Okay.
Stephen Asma is a professor of psychology, or not psychology, sorry, philosophy. And they have guests on. They've talked to lots of people. Don Cheadle, Tom Hanks, Patton Oswalt, Stephen Colbert. They like to talk about weird shit like cryptids and UFOs and It's all over the place. It's really, really great.
That sounds fascinating. I'll subscribe to that and give it a listen.
Highly recommended.
What's the name again?
Chinwag.
Chinwag. What a name. What does that mean?
Basically a conversation with no meaning, like bar talk, basically.
Is that like an actual phrase, a chinwag?
Yeah.
I've never heard that, but I like it.
It's good, right?
It is good. All right. Well, I guess that's the end of the episode. So we will pick this back up. This is about halfway through the episode of the show, the Napoleon Dynamite cartoon. And I think our listeners now just need one thing. Go take a bath. You deserve it.
Bye.
Bye.